All right, so today we're diving into the big one, the core challenge of academic life, that constant juggling act between being an amazing teacher and a groundbreaking researcher. It can feel like you're being pulled in two directions, but trust me, it's a balance you can absolutely master.
You know, it often feels like you have to make a choice, right? Am I going to be the engaging educator who really inspires students, or am I going to be the hardcore scholar who's pushing the boundaries of what we know? Well, the truth is, you don't have to pick. Let's dig into how you can be great at both, starting with the very first pillar of success.
Okay, so first up, the classroom. Look, being a great teacher isn't just about knowing your subject inside and out. It's about mastering the craft of teaching. And that means we've got to get specific.
Here's the key. Your job isn't just to broadcast information. It's all about translation. Think of yourself as a bridge, someone who can take these really complex, high-level ideas and turn them into something clear, engaging, and, something that actually sticks with your students long after the exam.
And this is where something called subject-specific pedagogy comes in. It's a fancy term, but all it really means is knowing how to teach your particular subject. For instance, the way you teach economics is going to be totally different from how you teach literature. In an econ class, you might be using real-world case studies or data simulations to make market forces come alive. But in a literature course, you're probably leaning on close reading exercises and Socratic seminars to unpack complex themes. It's all about tailoring your delivery for your field.
So from the classroom, let's switch gears and move to our second pillar. We're heading out of the lecture hall and into the library, the lab, or wherever your data lives. This is the research quest, and like any great adventure, it starts with finding your target.
This is step one, and it's absolutely fundamental. Before you can add new knowledge to the world, you have to figure out where that new knowledge is even needed. You're like a detective, searching for an opening, a question that hasn't been answered yet, or an area that everyone else has overlooked. This is the research gap.
So what exactly is a research gap? Well, it's any place where the current conversation in your field is incomplete. Maybe the data everyone's using is from 20 years ago. Maybe different studies are saying completely opposite things, or maybe a problem has just never been looked at from a certain angle. This isn't a flaw in the research. It's your personal invitation to jump in and make a real contribution.
Now, I know finding that gap can sound like this huge, intimidating task, but it really doesn't have to be. We can break it down into a simple three-step hunt. First, you just explore broadly, get the lay of the land. Then you get serious, and you analyze everything systematically. And finally, you pinpoint that perfect little opening where you can make your mark.
To do this right, you need to use your tools strategically. For that first step, the broad exploration, you use Google Scholar. Think of it like casting a giant net. It catches everything, from dissertations to conference papers. But then, for step two, the deep, systematic analysis, you switch to a curated database like Scopus. This is more like using a scalpel. It lets you focus on peer-reviewed work and see who's citing whom, so you can map out the whole conversation.
Okay, so you've done it. You've pinpointed your research gap. You've got your burning question. Now what? Well, now you need the right toolkit to actually go out and find the answer. And this is where some pretty powerful software comes into play.
Don't let the names intimidate you. Seriously, think of these as specialized instruments. You want to simplify tons of complex survey data into a few key themes? SPSS is your go-to for that, using something called factor analysis. You need to test if one economic variable actually causes another. Stata and eViews are built for exactly that kind of modeling. Trying to measure how efficient different companies or organizations are, that's where MATLAB or Stata really shine.
Ultimately, these tools are what let you move beyond just crunching numbers to unlocking real, meaningful insights. You can test your ideas with incredible precision, and most importantly, you can ensure your work is rigorous and reproducible. And that, right there, is the gold standard of any high-quality research.
So, we've covered two incredibly powerful pillars, mastering the classroom and conquering the research quest. But here's the real secret, and this is the best part. They aren't separate domains. They're actually deeply connected in what you could call a virtuous cycle. Think about it. The cutting-edge, fascinating insights you uncover in your research, those become the amazing, real-world examples you bring into your lectures that get students fired up. And then, on the flip side, a brilliant, out-of-the-box question from a student in that very same lecture, well, that might just become the tiny seed for your next huge research project. Each side constantly fuels the other. Excelling in one makes you so much better at the other, creating this powerful engine for your entire academic career. So your next scholarly contribution is out there, just waiting. The only question left is, which skill are you going to sharpen first?